okay, so I discovered when I was doing immigration consulting that I find that even when some families had to take a strategic approach, like staggered entry, one person comes first, I'm always very particular about ensuring that the rest of the family joins. And for every new family reunification, the excitement hits me different. And you just know that this is something that you are extremely passionate about. So that just hits different from. So I love to take family applications. And the most recent one being just on Monday, we got a family's approval. And you would imagine, as I called to give them the news, there was tears. And I'm not even joking. I spent 10 minutes on the call. It was tears of joy. You're like, you don't know what you have done. And I don't even take glory for this. I know that it's really God helping, right? But imagine a grown woman wailing on the phone and saying, you do not know what you have done for this family. You did not just process someone's application, but you restored hope. Imagine a grown man and woman telling you that. Come on. Like, if it was just, it's phenomenal. Like, I don't know how to explain the feeling, but it just gives me so much joy.
Welcome to the Thriving Immigrant Podcast with Odun Adesope. This is where we share powerful stories of resilience, reinvention, transformation, and success. So whether you're a new immigrant, navigating a new life, or an aspiring entrepreneur looking for inspiration, this podcast is for you. Join me as we dive into real conversations with incredible individuals who have turned challenges into opportunities. Let's learn, grow, and thrive together. Cheers to a life of abundance. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Thriving Immigrant Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Adesope. I'm excited to do this today. I've got an amazing, phenomenal guest on the show. She's not just an immigrant, she's also a professional immigration consultant. She moved to Canada almost 10 years ago. She's one of the smartest people I've ever spoken with. We are going to learn a lot from her story, and I'm so pumped for today's conversation. My guest is Odun Adesope. She's the founder of J29 Immigration Consultant. J29 Immigration Consulting. She's the lead consultant for the company. She has done a lot in Canada, and at some point she decided to start her own business. This is what she does full time, and I'm so inspired by her journey. And I'm like, you know what, Odun, let's talk on the podcast. So she said, why not? So join me in welcoming Odun, CEO, J29 Immigration Consulting. It's not easy to be a CEO. Welcome, Odun.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you.
Very much. Thank you. I'm excited to be here as well.
Okay. All right. So I know you moved to Canada in 2018. Do you want to walk us through your immigration journey? You've lived in Canada for about 8 years. I call you not just a personal immigrant, but a professional immigrant as well. So.
Okay, now that's funny. But yes, I moved in 2018 and I came in as a permanent resident with my family at the time. It was in March of 2018. So it's great that we're doing this in March because it's our anniversary just in a few days. But I moved in 2018 as permanent resident, and to be honest, the journey has been interesting. I'm so thankful that we made that bold move. We finally immigrated in 2018, but the journey started as far back as 2016, and it took us a long time to get to where we wanted to be. But it was also a very rewarding journey for us because as a family, it helped us we had like a common goal that we're working towards, and we just kept pushing, we kept praying, we kept fighting. And you know how it is at the time, right? The future is bright is what we all kept seeing, and so it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. A lot of people, it was before the mass exodus of people moving to Canada. It was when people didn't believe that it would happen. A lot of people just thought we were crazy at the time, so like, are you sure you haven't been scammed? But like, I didn't pay anybody, so who is scamming who, right? But people didn't believe. But I'm glad that we took that bold move that time, because if I was going to immigrate now, with the way things have changed with Canadian immigration, it would be almost
Yeah,
impossible. But yeah,
I
it's
can
been an interesting
imagine.
journey.
Right. So it's interesting that you moved in March. We also moved in March, but a year after you landed.
Oh yeah.
So we came 2019 also as a PR. And when you were saying that people thought you were crazy, yeah, when we were moving too, it looked like we were crazy. I remember when I told my boss that I was leaving, and he said to me that I hope you are making the right decision. Because my boss had lived in the US for 18 years before he moved to Nigeria to head the company I was working for then. And that message really touched me. Like, if someone that has lived for almost 20 years is telling you that I hope you are making the right decision. Yeah, but I look back and I'm grateful that we made the move just as excited as you are. So thank you for sharing that and thank you for summarizing it because I know a lot must have happened within that 2016 and 2018.
I don't want to make this about
You don't want to
just
go
that
there.
journey alone because if I start talking about what that journey was like, it's a lot. It was a
I
lot.
can just imagine, right? Did you ever see yourself becoming an immigration consultant in that 2018, 2019?
No. Here's it. Okay, let me tell you an interesting spin to my story slash journey. When we started moving that time, I had recently discovered my love for writing. You know, so I started a blog. This was before we left Nigeria. I was just sharing my experience as a new mom at the time. And so that kind of opened me up to wanting to read more blogs. How are people writing and stuff like that? But I realized that a lot of people didn't, there was almost nothing about people's personal experiences who had immigrated to Canada, which means that there weren't a lot of people willing to share their story, right? So it bothered me a lot. I'm like, why am I not seeing? And I had a baby at the time. So there was the thought, I had a strong support system back in Nigeria, right? So it was like, what would that look like for me when I get to this new country? So I started to look for information I didn't find. All I found was lots of forums like I think Canada Visa. I'm sure you know them.
Yeah.
There's one very popular from the Naira land. There was a lot of information about there was just a lot of immigration terms flying around. AOR, PPR, that's it. Just your date of submission. So it wasn't like people didn't talk about their personal experiences. I'm like, okay, yes, you're moving there. What then happens when you get there?
Get there.
So I was curious. And so I made up my mind that, you know what, I will start paying attention to every step of my journey and I will start to document my journey. I wouldn't start before I leave Nigeria because the Nigerian in me wasn't ready to also tell anyone that I was moving at the time. But I made up my mind I was going to start writing and just sharing my experience because I felt like a lot more people would do this and they would want to know what that experience is like for someone who moved with a child. How did you build community? How did you find your tribe? So that was me at the time. Immigration consulting was never part of what I thought I was going to do. The one thing I knew I was going to do, I made up my mind to do a career pivot because I was mostly doing business development, sales, corporate communication back in Nigeria. So I said I could continue corporate comms and maybe a bit of business development, but I just wasn't ready to sell anything for anybody again. So I was coming with an open mind, like whatever new career I find, I was ready for it. And it was in that period of my life I discovered that every average person would change career in life at least 3 times. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one.
Yeah, let's do it. You're ready for it.
So I was ready and I really had that open mind, I was ready. But then when I got to Canada, as you would imagine, there was a lot of culture shock for me and also, just figuring out how to find my tribe. I struggled in the beginning. I had a support system. I'm the first child, so you would imagine that I didn't even have to beg for help. Help was there. It was readily available. Like, all I needed to do was lift up my head, literally. Like, you would hear, what do you need? Is everything okay? That's how it was. But then I got here, that changed. But I continued to document what that experience was like for me. The times when I would hop on a bus and miss my bus. The times when my daughter had she had like a potty training regression because she was still a baby at the time, but we had finished potty training her in Nigeria. We got to Canada. She went
Had
back
to
again
start
because of the
again.
weather. We had to start all over again. So my story became relatable, and that's how I just started blogging about my journey in Canada. But as you would imagine, people read the human side of my story and they were excited about it, but they're like, okay, so tell me, how did you then do your PR? And I'm like, okay, this is what I did. I just went on, at the time it was cic.gc.ca. Now it's canada.ca, right? So I'll say go on cic.gc.ca, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I made 1 or 2 blog posts about my personal journey, what it was like using my own story. And then few people would reach out and say, oh, and so and this is where I'm at now. I did this and then it worked. I did this and then it worked. I'm like, okay,
There's
if
something
I'm
here.
able to explain this enough for someone to understand and be able to eventually get it, so much that they finally land in Canada and even just. A funny thing is, I was blogging anonymous, so nobody knew who I was.
Oh, I see.
Nobody knew who I was at the time. So people came and they're like, okay, yeah, I finally made it to Canada. I'm like, okay, cool stuff. So I started to do my research, like, okay, what's this like? And I'm a Christian, I'm a woman of faith, so I prayed about this as well at the time, and I got that piece to continue to research. So I started my research, and then one thing led to another, I just continued, and then I eventually went to this was in 2019. I went back to do a diploma course in immigration consulting, because I discovered, of course, in my research that in order for you to be a licensed immigration consultant, you do need to go back to study first. Then you will take an entry to practice exam, and you do English tests all over again. So I did English tests twice.
Oh.
One for immigration, another one for immigration consulting.
You see,
so
you
gotta
see why
put
I
some
said you are.
respect on it.
You see why I said you are not just a personal immigrant. You are both personal and professional immigrants. I'm just hearing that for the first time. So you had to
Yeah.
do IELTS again.
Again, yes.
Interesting. Like your English is not enough, dude.
So they just had to be sure, like, you're not going to go tell people crap. But anyway, so that's how the journey started, and then I eventually got licensed. But at the time, I was already working full-time. I had worked in not-for-profit, I had worked in higher education in Canada as well, worked in a university at the time. Recruitment, admissions, I was doing all of that. So I was very familiar with that space as well. And so when I got my license, I was just doing it as a side hustle. But I was very familiar with the struggles of new immigrants. So this wasn't just I'm doing this for you because I read about it. Yes, I read,
Because I lived it.
but I have lived experience, and that's no one can take away from me. Even if you take away my knowledge, you can't take away my experience,
My
right?
experience.
So I do have lived experience, and as I continued, the passion just continued to grow. How I was supporting people, and then I found that I had a strong affinity for reuniting families. Again, that is actually part of Canada's immigration mandate as well. Family reunification, it's a thing, right? But for me, I was more passionate about it, and then I started to reflect, and I realized that I had some experiences when I was much younger, and I won't say scarred me, but sort of defined some of the things that I do, and it made more sense to me. When I was much younger, I had a neighbor who they were separated for like an extended period of time, and apparently as I grew older, I discovered that it was because of immigration. So the man had immigrated to the US, but then he had to get married to someone that, all of that stuff that happened. But I was like, okay, so I discovered when I was doing immigration consulting that I find that even when some families had to take like a strategic approach, like staggered entry, one person comes first, I'm always very particular about ensuring that the rest of the family joins. And for every new family reunification, the excitement hits me different. And you just know that this is something that you are extremely passionate about. So that just hits different from. So I love to take family applications. And the most recent one being just on Monday, we got a family's approval. And you would imagine, as I called to give them the news, there was tears. And I'm not even joking.
my God.
I spent 10 minutes on the call. It was tears of joy. They're like, you don't know what you have done. And I don't even take glory for this. I know that it's really God helping, right? But imagine a grown woman wailing on the phone and saying, you do not know what you have done for this family. You did not just process someone's application, but you restored hope. Imagine like a grown man and woman telling you that. Come on. Like, if it was just, it's phenomenal. Like, I don't know how to explain the feeling. but it just gives me so much joy. And more importantly, it's fulfilling for me. So my journey as an immigration consultant and why I'm so passionate about what I do is really not just to fill forms and write letters. It's the hope that one is able to restore to families. It's fulfilling.
Wow.
Not a lot of people get to find fulfillment in what they do, right? It's not
That's
all about
correct.
making money, but I can say for a fact that I find fulfillment in what I do, supporting families. I don't even see many of them. Like the first time I saw one of my clients was just yesterday. Like a lot of them, I never get to see them. I met the person at an event, very random, but I met the person at an event yesterday night.
And she said,
So
"Oh,
I
you
never
were
get
the
to
one."
see these people. I never get to see them. But the joy is it's like they have a part of my heart. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I could feel your passion, and I'm so proud of what you are doing, and I agree with a lot of things that you've said. Like, not everyone gets fulfillment in what they do. In fact, I think there are very few people who are privileged enough to be doing what is giving them fulfillment. And just because you talk about it, I remember this book that I read, Ikigai. Have you read that book?
No, I haven't, interestingly. What's it called?
Ikigai. It's Ikigai. You will love it. So, thank you for sharing all that. Thank you. I can imagine how many families, how many hopes you've restored. Like, the immigration journey is very different and is unique for everyone. Like, for me, when we came through peer. So, like, we came as peers. And I think for the first year, I didn't even know that there are other ways to move to Canada. I didn't know. I just thought everybody was coming here through peer. Until I think 2 years after we landed, I just started hearing some stories that some people came here as an international student. They've spent 5-6 years before becoming PR. Some people come here through other routes. And I think that was the first time I was able to recognize some privileges that I have enjoyed as a permanent resident. So, thank you for restoring hopes. Thank you for helping families to come back together. And I'm glad that you're enjoying what you do.
Thank you.
I know people make a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest mistake that you think skilled immigrants make in their first 12 months in Canada? That first 12 months is the overwhelming phase.
Okay. It is the overwhelming phase, but I think that a lot of people underestimate the importance of that support system. A lot of people come into this country, they come prepared, like, oh, I'll take maybe a project management course and then I'll start looking for jobs. I'll create an account on Indeed. Some people have like a strategic roadmap for what their career will look like. I've yet to hear anyone who actually said to me or tells me that, also, I plan to even just land in a city where I know at least one person. Do you see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
for me, even if it's just I don't like getting to the airport and I have no one to pick me up. I know it sounds funny, but that's me. And I can tell you for a fact that I know people underestimate the importance of that support system. Just building that community. It's as you are trying to build your career. Okay, wait, you have a job interview. Where are you going to keep your child? You just want to get a random babysitter. Like, do you trust that babysitter already to watch your kids for that long? Of course, you will eventually get to the point where you find a babysitter. But I feel so much that strongly that people just don't pay attention to that building that support system ahead of time. They just want to come into Canada and start building their career immediately, want to go for job interviews and all of that. But there's a lot more. Build your support system, get integrated into the system itself. Yeah, there's a lot of government-funded programs that support you to get integrated into the system. I'll tell you something funny. I hear from a lot of intending immigrants that when you take advantage of some of these government-funded programs, that you won't be able to invite your parents or anyone to visit you in Canada. Have you heard that before?
There are so many misconceptions and false information that people just cook up on their own.
Yes. People peddle that. So people just want to be by themselves because they don't know that there's so much that you can benefit from. I worked in not-for-profit. I can tell you for a fact that the government is investing heavily in all of those programs. So take advantage. Find a bridging program. Go for it. That's where you meet more people. So yes, we talk about networking, but people focus on networking mostly from the perspective of work, but not networking because you also need it to be able to build a support system. Know people, because this is now your new home. You want to get integrated into the system, so you want to know more about Canada itself. It's not just to know about the work that you do, and because by the time you start work, you're going to get so busy that your life becomes work, pick up kids from school. It becomes like that unending cycle.
Yeah.
But when you start to build your support system ahead of time, when you make up your mind that as you're building your career or as you're trying to find work, you'd also try to get integrated into the system. Take your kids to the library, go for 1 or 2 events that are hosted in the library. Just get integrated into the system as well. Learn about Canada, learn about their culture, try new foods. It's not just money, it's not money that
Explore,
brought us here.
explore, live. I really love the
Yes.
point that you raised, and and I love how you said it. Like people underestimate it. So, and you are correct. I agree with you completely because moving to this country, people have a lot of things on their list of things to do. Maybe I'm wrong, but most people don't consider that support system. When we came in, our family friend took us from the airport, hosted us for 3 weeks, provided all the support that they could provide. Every day we have Canada Day, or every year we celebrate Canada Day, I always send them text to say thank you for the first 3 weeks, for that period. And every time we celebrate our anniversary, which is coming up in a few days, and at some point the wife was like, why do you always do this? Like you keep thanking us every year for those period, because that support system is as important as your career. Yeah.
It is.
Especially if you're moving as a family. If you have 2 kids, there's so much to learn. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that response, but that response is actually very powerful.
I'll wrap up with I'll put a sprinkle on this. When we came into Canada that time, we used to do a lot of road trips, and because it was just me, my husband, and our daughter at the time. We wouldn't even go on the map. We would just literally pick a random, maybe one small town close enough, and we just do a road trip. We just go there. Of course, it's not like we're going there we wouldn't even stay in an Airbnb, just like a hotel. So you don't even have to be inside cooking. We get to visit the small diners. We wouldn't even go to big restaurants, just the diners in those small towns. We went to Grimsby. We've been to, now I'm forgetting all of those names. I've been to Napanee. I've been to the random places. Of course, Blue Mountain was one of them. Just small towns all around. And of course, we drove to Buffalo back. It was just fun. We're just having road trips and having fun and exploring at least Ontario where we were at the time. Right? And then of course we started to explore. Then I came up with the whole yearly thing that I do, first week of every year I go away on a retreat. So I just pick any other random small town that I see on the map. That's it. Nowhere in mind. I just pick any random place. And Laura, just any place I see that sounds interesting, I just go there, lock myself up for a few days, walk around, just enjoy the scenery and everything. Because it's just good, right? I mean, life is to be lived, so let's live it and enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that sounds to me like something that is very therapeutic. Like you see the world from a different view, you enjoy fresh air, and yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think I will also add that to my plans. Yeah. It's good to explore. Canada is very big. Why should you just come here and look for something in particular?
Ontario alone is bigger than the whole of Nigeria. What are we talking about?
Yeah, such a huge country. There was a time I wrote an article online and I was just talking about the things that people don't recognize about Canada, like the size of the country and how it can also impact cost of living. There is a province in Canada that has 3 time zones. I think Nunavut.
Yes.
So within a particular, even Ontario has 2 time zones. If you are in St. John's in Newfoundland, you are closer to Venezuela, Morocco, and Germany than you are to Vancouver.
It's all people will struggle to believe this, but that's the reality of the Canada that we live in.
Yeah, the size is just something else. So explore, live, and okay. It's been a good conversation. So if you are listening to this podcast for the first time, thank you for tuning in. But please hit the subscription button. If you are dreaming or planning to relocate to Canada and you're not sure how to go about it, Odun is a licensed, emphasis on licensed. She's a licensed immigration consultant. So you may want to reach out to her to guide you. Okay, so you recently transitioned to entrepreneurship, full-time entrepreneurship. How has it been for you? In
Honestly,
country
the
like
only
Canada,
word that I can use to describe it, actually 2 words, but first off, it's been stretching. I have to say that. It's not for the faint-hearted. There's nothing you read and heard from anyone that actually prepares you for the reality of what full-time entrepreneurship will be like. But again, it's been rewarding for me. I mentioned that you see your efforts yield results real time, and it's priceless. Like, it's not all about money. Yeah, eventually there will come a time when, of course, you also need to make money from it and everything, but you need to also understand that there's a time to build. And in building, again, the level of work or the amount of work that you put in would also show in your results. That's the truth, right? So I was doing it part-time at some point, and as you would imagine, I was being pulled in many places.
yeah.
But I mentioned earlier also that I'm a woman of faith. So it's not like I just hopped into it and say, oh, we'll see how it goes. I am not seeing how anything goes. We have to be sure that God is leading us on this journey, right? So yes, I did take a lot of time to pray about it. But when I got that release that it was time to go, I was ready to just launch into the deep and trust God that, whatever the future held, at least I knew that I wasn't doing this just because I felt like doing it, but I was led to do it, more importantly, and I will be helping a lot of people. I will be supporting a lot of families. And that for me is also priceless. I will be able to dedicate more time. And I can tell you for a fact.
Is there anything that you were not prepared for that you discovered when you started your business?
I think that the only thing that kind of took me aback a little bit. I mean, expectations were really managed for me. I was going with an open mind, as is when I'm approaching every new thing. I try to be as open-minded as possible. But I think one of the things that really took me aback was the way people initially struggled with the idea of having like an initial consultation. Now, as you would imagine, right, by virtue of what I look like, I find that a lot of my clients, not all of them, but a good chunk of them are people that look like me, people of color like me. And I find that there was in the initial stages, there was not a lot of appreciation for the idea of having to pay to speak to someone.
Yeah.
Some people, so in those early stages, I struggled a lot. I had to do lots of free consultations. But as I did those free consultations, I realized that for a lot of people, because they were free,
there
was no value attached to it in their own eyes. Like, we're having a free consultation. We agree to meet at 10 a.m. You don't show up till 10:15. If you paid for that session, you will show up at 9:45. Exactly. That's exactly what so after a while, of course, I mean, I've been doing this, 5 years now. It's been it's enough time for me to have, refined my processes and all of that. So right now, there's no free consultation anymore. But in those early stages, that's something that took me aback, because people just never understood why you needed to have like an initial meeting. They just assumed that all I just need to do is tell you my name or something, and you would just magically figure out what program or
What?
what options work for me. So I think that was just something that took me aback. But with patience and continual process improvement, as well as just being willing to and open to let people understand how and why. So you'll find that a few times on my page, you'll see me just talk about why it's important to book a consultation session. It isn't because we don't have what to talk about, but it's just we need to keep bringing this thing up so that people
Yeah.
understand that it is important. You can't go to a doctor and doctor just looks at you and says, I think you would need Advil, or I think you would need blah blah blah. They obviously want to know what exactly your problem is before they can make any recommendations or give you any medications to take. So I think that was just something
Yeah.
that took me back. But other than that, every part of the journey has had its twists and turns, curves and everything. But it's like I said earlier, it's also been rewarding for me. Stretching and rewarding. Those are the two key words that I use to describe my journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, stretching and rewarding. Of course, I can relate with everything you've said. Like, I know how people of our color could struggle to pay for consultation because sometimes we struggle with seeing value in something that is not, I don't want to use the word tangible, or something that is not physical, like you can't
Yes.
hold.
It's not a
So
product that you can hold in
it's
your
not a
hand. It's
product that you can
intangible.
hold.
So they're like, what am
Yeah,
I paying for?
yeah, and you are paying for someone's time, someone's expertise, and the kind of service that you offer. It's important that you provide tailored advice, tailored service. Somebody might be eligible for coming through the PR route, and maybe he's not fully aware that he can come in through PR routes, and he's thinking of coming through international student routes. So those are the things that you will be able to help them with, but they need to sit with you and have a one-on-one consultation so you can guide them accordingly. All right, so I'm glad that you are getting paid for your time now. Please don't increase the price list. Okay, so talking about consultation, Odun is always ready to speak with you. If you want to have a one-on-one consultation anywhere in the world, just visit their website and book a session with Odun. Few of my friends have worked with Odun and the feedback has been amazing. So thank you, Odun, for providing fantastic services to people.
Thank you for the
Okay,
vote of confidence.
yeah. Now, moving to a very important one. I can't remember where I read something about temporary residents in Canada. I think we have about 2 million of them that will be, is the right word, losing their status. Let me use the right word. Their
Status
visa
have
might be,
expired.
yeah, between, by the end of 2026.
That's correct.
Okay. If you want to look at the numbers, that's a huge number for a country of 40 million. Like, the population of Canada is about 40 million. If 2 million out of 40 million are temporary residents, but that's not even the topic for this conversation. Quite a number of them are really concerned, like they don't know what next. They are in this they are in this position of uncertainty, like what's gonna happen? Am I going back to my country and all that? Some of them have kids, some of them have dependents. And it makes me sad sometimes because a lot of them come into my DM. I'm not an immigration consultant, but they're just like, what will I do? If someone in that situation is listening to you right now, what would you tell that person?
I'll tell the person to. I'll give the person a virtual hug first off because I know it's a tough place to be. It is a tough place to be. You don't understand the value of that PR that you have or that Canadian passport that you have until you don't have it and you are scrambling to get it. It's a very tough place to be. It's not a good place to be. I've met with families who have gone out of status for work are unable to work. They're still in Canada, still trying to figure out permanent residence in Canada. And it's just tough. One thing that I noticed that a lot of people still believe or do is listen to rumors. Now, you see this information that you just shared. We're different people. The way that our brain works is different. We're all wired differently. And I always say something as well. Perspective is everything. So your lens is different from my lens, right? Just the same way we can't exchange glasses just out of the blues, right? Now, people perceive information differently. And sometimes, now this news came out yesterday, something about what the immigration minister said was about the soft launch. When people are hearing soft launch, they're thinking that program was already launched and people have started applying. But a soft launch is probably still in its testing phase. Maybe they're trying out some of the different aspects. I mean, if you've worked in maybe project management or you've done some project before, you understand that there will always be a testing phase. And so when they say soft launch, it doesn't mean that there's a specific program that has been released. But I can tell you for a fact that there are already some people on the internet writing and saying that Canada has launched a new program and it's going to take 40,000 immigrants, and then everybody is scrambling. And my DMs are crazy. Like, you don't even want to see what our DMs are like. People asking, people saying, oh, I heard this, I heard that. They're forwarding information from different Instagram influencers and stuff. Now, information is everywhere. We're in the information age. In fact, we're in the AI age. It's no longer information age. I think we have moved away from the information age now.
Yeah, I think we've left that age.
Yes, and there's information everywhere, almost overwhelming. The best picture that I used to describe this is, imagine you as a human being drinking water from a fire hose. Have you ever seen a fire hose before? And the way that water comes out.
The force.
Imagine you now trying to drink water. It will kill you. But that's how much information is available on the internet. Now, the only way for you to successfully drink water will be to either buy a small bottle, get a cup like this, and just take what you can consume. How do you then take what you can consume? You may not even know how much you need at the time. So the vessel to get what you need to consume is what is important here. And that vessel is speaking to the right persons. I find that a lot of people get confused, make the biggest mistakes I've spoken to too many people in the last 1 month, and it hurts me how just that 1 hour of clarity at the right time would have made a difference for a lot of families. So please, my recommendation, my advice is, do not listen to rumors, right? Yes, there's a lot of information. Take that information, but even if you don't want to speak to an immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer, if you feel like you won't get value from them, no problem. Own your mistakes, right? Sit with the information, digest it yourself, and do with it however you please. I would rather that you do a DIY and make your mistakes by yourself than you go and place yourself in the hand of somebody who is unauthorized, who has no stake in it. And when I say these people are brutal, Paul, I don't even want to go into the horror stories of unauthorized practitioners and what they've done to people. Imagine someone paying for an application and less than 24 hours, they withdraw them, like they cancel. You can contest a credit card payment. They go and then they cancel that payment. But IRCC system has already triggered biometrics request letter. And so this person will go and do biometrics thinking that they have paid for their application. But then they refuse the application and IRCC says that they are owing the crown.
No, that's not fair.
And owing the crown means that they didn't pay for that application, but they already did biometrics. Like, people are that brutal. So that's why I'm saying, at least if you do it by yourself, if you make a mistake by yourself, you will not go
take
pay
ownership
and then withdraw. Like, you take ownership of it. That's what I'm saying. So people should avoid listening to rumors. And like I said, that analogy of drinking so much water, the vessel that you use to then drink the water is the most important thing. The vessel is speaking to the right people, speaking to immigration consultants. I've been running J29 immigration since 2021, and I can say for a fact that there's no one who has come for a consultation session with me that goes back saying, I'm still confused. I give you the right amount of information that you need at the time. And when I'm done, I send a summary and an action plan. Like, literally, it contains an action plan. This is what you should do at so time. This is what you should do. These are next steps. It's numbered. It's a list. Number 1, this. Number 2, this. and then relevant links. Do you understand? So it's like we break it down for you in bite size so that you can consume it. That's really, and that's why you see that I'm very passionate about this, because I don't want, even if I can save one more person from getting scammed, or one more family, and bringing up one more family together, it gives me joy. But people are ever so, like, they just, I don't know, it hurts me, honestly. I don't even want to go into the horror. This last week, I had multiple sessions with people who 1 hour of clarity session at the right time would have made a difference in their journey.
Oh no. And I can just imagine people who are not likely to come out of this, because it's one thing to be misinformed, it's another thing to be misinformed and find your way back to the right path. Some people have lost it completely. For example,
Yes.
maybe some people got funds from family and friends that they used through unauthorized agents. Okay, now let's try again. They can't afford it anymore. And
Because they got a 5-year ban.
okay, there's even a 5-year ban.
There is. I got someone reach out recently. They had a 5-year ban
Imagine.
for a
So
mistake that could have been avoided. Totally
yeah,
avoidable.
that's sad. So if you are listening to us right now, you need clarity, do the right thing. Get the amount of vessel, get the right size of vessel for the water that you need.
Vessel, exactly. Vessel,
Yeah,
the right vessel to
the
get
right
you the
vessel,
water.
the right
The water is
size.
information that everyone needs, but the
Yeah,
right vessel, that right vessel will then give you the amount of water that your body
that you
needs to
can
digest
take.
your food. This is
Amazing.
interesting, though.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Thank you for breaking it down. Now, for those people who are not yet in Canada, and you know how Canada, I don't know, but let me say this way. You know how Canada has very strong PR, like the dream country of most people. I saw an article that was saying that, oh, let me not misquote it. But I think Canada is one of those countries, one of the most sought after countries in the world, and is also is the most loved country. Yeah, the most loved country in the world. I think I saw that not quite long. So there are a lot of people that want to move to Canada. So for someone listening to you right now in Africa, maybe in Nigeria, in Ghana, and they want to move to Canada, let's say this person is 30 years old. He's a 30-year-old married, thinking of moving to Canada. What are their chances?
You see, when you ask me chances, I wish that I could tell them what are their chances. What I can say is Canada has one of the best structured immigration systems across the world, right? It takes into consideration every aspect of your profile. Doesn't really leave out, some parts. Like even when you have a sibling here, it takes that into consideration. Like one way or the other, it takes that into consideration. So what I will say is strategy is what will make the difference. It's not just, and the truth is Canada will not be for everybody at the end of the day. But whoever
Correct.
it is, it will be for. You still need to be strategic in your approach. And it will still bring me back to what I said earlier. And that's just the truth. Speaking to the right person at the right time. And so that even if you then decide that, okay, I am not eventually going to pursue Canadian immigration, you're doing that from an informed standpoint. You're not doing it because you heard or you read on a forum or people said different things, but you're doing it from an informed standpoint, like you got professional advice and you know for a fact that at this time this isn't it. And if it will be, what do you need to do to get yourself to that point? Because for some people, you mentioned something earlier that for some people, they can come immediately, they can come in as PR, but they thought they could come in as an international student. And truth is, the international student, there's no international student pathway to permanent residence. That's the truth. It's not a pathway to permanent residence. Every international student coming into Canada, every temporary resident coming into Canada promises that they would return to their
Go
home
back.
country. there's always that part. It's a major requirement. You need to be able to show ties to your home country. Now, it's not because Canada doesn't think that you can pursue permanent residence, but in the event that your plans do not work out, they're expecting that you have something to return to, because you already said you had strong ties in your home country. But people are able to navigate through to permanent residence. It isn't because there's a pathway for international students permanent residence. It's that they're able to navigate after fulfilling the terms and conditions of their study in Canada. However, strategy is still everything. You need to be strategic from the start of your journey. It's not I will figure it. No, you don't do it. Don't figure it out when you get
Don't
there.
wing it.
Some people think that once they come in as visitors, that they can navigate. It's the toughest place to be, because you won't even be able to work. You won't be able to work. It's a very tough place to be. So I would just say be strategic in your approach. Get the right advice at the right time, so that whatever you're planning, you plan properly. You do understand? Like, if you need to give yourself, if you have to make it a 3-year goal, then you can make it a 3-year goal. If you have to make it a 5-year goal, then you can make it a 5-year goal. And if it can be a 2-year goal for you as well, it will be. But just be strategic, plan ahead, speak to the right people, so that you don't make mistakes that could have been avoided. I think that's what I'll say.
Wow. I think we should title this podcast Immigration 101. Thank you. Thank you, Odun. Odun has shared a lot. This has been a very insightful conversation, especially for the right audience. So if you're already in Canada, you are a PR or you are a Canadian citizen, maybe some of these things don't make sense to you. But I can just imagine someone who is trying to navigate the process, who is about to submit his application, the kind of value that Odun has been providing. Thank you so much for sharing all this with the people or with my audience. So you are not, like I said in the beginning, you are not just a typical immigrant. You've lived it and you've advised people about it. You've seen so many things. You've seen different mistakes. If there's one thing you could redesign about the immigration system in Canada, what would that be? Putting you on the spot.
Am I allowed to answer
Not to say this as a licensed professional. If you are not, please don't bother.
I mean, it's really I think for me, it's not necessarily redesign. There's a lot that I would really love to redesign, but
And for you
I don't want
as
to
a
go
PM,
into that. It's really just people. I guess it would be maybe further letting people understand. There's a part that where they say you don't need to get a licensed immigration consultant. There's a lot of emphasis on you don't need, or you shouldn't get a licensed immigration consultant. Almost like it's the system is against us one way or the other. But the reality is that you put us through a whole long process of getting licensed because you wanted us to be able to understand how the system works and to be able to interpret it better to other people. So that part and I think because people read it that way sometimes, I find that some people are very firm in their resolve to not involve an immigration consultant in supporting them through the application, because IRCC is saying that you don't need to, right? But in the same sentence or in the same vein, they're still saying, however, if you want to, you make sure that
you are encouraged to
immigration consultants, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not saying that you should encourage. It's just it's so strongly worded that some people feel that immigration consultants are needless and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a tricky place. I would just really love that strong wording be changed up a little bit. Like, let it be more subtle. I mean, immigration consultants, we're good people. We're out here to help people. And I've told you several stories of families that have now come together in Canada. Beautiful approval stories, lots of refusals, and then they bring gates that have been approved. It isn't because they give a special attention to immigration consultants application, but this is our bread and butter. This is what we live, we do every day. We have navigated the system enough to understand what works and what doesn't, how to help you tell your story, because a lot of times people cannot, right? So I think that's one thing that I would really say. Other areas are there, but I'll keep it at that.
Yeah, let's just keep it as that. Let's keep it as that. You're a licensed professional, so I don't think this is a place to blow everything out. So Thank you. Thank you for coming to the podcast. And this may sound like a needless question. Are you accepting new clients? Can people reach out to you?
Always, always, bro.
Yeah,
Yes, we
so
are.
you
We're
will find.
accepting clients.
Okay, please just tell us how people can contact you.
Okay, so you can reach us. You should just go on our website www.j29immigration.com. J as in Django, number 2, number 9, immigration.com. You can book a consultation session with us there. You can find us on Instagram. All social media platforms is the same name. It's the same unique name. There's a story behind that name, Paul. I'll tell you in another meeting.
I was going to
yeah.
ask you, but yes, but not today. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
no,
course,
not
the name
today.
is
I'll tell
unique.
you
I can
another
tell. I can tell that the name is not random. So
It's
there
not.
must be a
It
story
was
to
carefully
it.
picked out. Carefully picked
Yeah.
out. And yes, it's the same J29 immigration across all platforms. You can find us everywhere. Send us a DM. You can send us an email as well, info@j29immigration.com or hello@j29immigration.com. That's it. We're always happy to assist you. And if you go on our website, our phone numbers are there as well. You can send us a DM. You can reach us in so many ways. And on our website, we also have free resources. We have a free scholarship list of about 85 scholarships that we pulled across different schools in Canada. Feel free to enjoy a free resource. No one ever said no to a free
No,
thing,
to
right?
free things.
Freebies
That's
are good.
good.
So hop on our website as well, pick free resources. But for sure, we're taking clients. Always happy to help, support. Any day, anytime. Not 24 hours a day, but
Yeah.
but definitely always open to responding to our clients and taking on new clients. That's why we're here. That's why we're in business.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Odun Adesope of J29 Immigration. It's been an amazing time with you. Thank you for sharing all the things you've shared. On a final note, if you are listening to me right now, you are probably in a position where you are stuck about immigration. I just want to encourage you to give yourself grace and take it easy on yourself. Make sure you are getting the right size of vessel to consume the amount of water or information that you need. Don't overwhelm yourself with a lot of information. And if you feel confused, just reach out to a licensed agent, reach out to Odun and book a session with her so she can guide you. Whatever dreams you have, I pray for you that your dreams will come true. I've never been in that position before, but I can just imagine how challenging it can be to be stuck as an immigrant in a country like Canada. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Feel free to share this with someone. If you've not subscribed, why haven't you subscribed? Please hit the subscription button. Share this with someone. And until I come your way again, stay thriving.